It's rare that Yah will call us or commission us, assign us to something that we're actually very good at. The thing that we don't know how to do, that's probably what he's going to have us to do. This Berryfield's a 2-minute tour, day 4 of Noach, whose name again means comfort, and it is sometimes not very comforting or comfortable to do what Yah is desiring us to accomplish. In Genesis, Bereshit, chapter number 7, it says, and Yahweh said to Noah in verse 1, "Come into the ark, you and all your household, because I've seen that you're righteous before me in this generation." It says in verse number 6, "Now Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth, and Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood." And then it describes how that the animals that were chosen came in. And then it says in verse 11, "In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second new moon, the 17th day of the new moon, on that day all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain fell." At that point, I am sure that Noah looked around inside of this project that he and his sons had finished. And maybe they went around and inspected the seams that of the wood that had been sealed with pitch. And perhaps after a thorough investigation of this vessel, they realized it's watertight. It's going to be okay. When that vessel lifted up with the floodwaters and began to do the motion and the rocking, when the rains blew hard against it, when the people were banging against the side of it, pleading to be let in, Noah and his family would have been very happy that they had done what they were commissioned to do. Now, the Midrash, the rabbinical commentary on the Torah, says that they worked on this project for 120 years, more than our lifetime and then some. It says that he was 500 when he began the project and 600 when he finished the project. His sons were born to him around the year 500. So, his sons were raised in the ark building endeavor and business. There are some things for us to think about. When they get off of the ark, the first thing that Noah does is he plants a vineyard. He is a man of the soil. If you watch some of the movies pertaining to this storyline, he's in a carpenter shop with woodworking tools around him, receiving the blueprint for the ark, and he clears the table and starts writing down the measurements. What if Noah was out in the field with a hoe and working plants and gleaning the grapes in the vineyard? What if he was involved in agricultural endeavor? And Yah starts speaking to him, and he's writing with his finger in the dirt and doesn't know how do you build an ark? Think about this. In order to build the ark, number one, they would have had to find the correct place to build it. A large, open place. Secondly, they would have needed to use whatever tooling that they had in that day, saws and some forms of axe. And I don't know what degree of metal development that they might have been involved with. It could have been just copper axes and saws. But they would have needed to be close to a resource of trees, gopher wood in particular. Cutting a tree down, using some form of chains and animal team to pull it to the construction site, where then it would have needed to be barked and cut and sawn into usable timbers, all again with hand tools of some sort, perhaps. Then the planing of the lumber, the devising of the plans, the figuring out how we're going to do this. What do you start with? Maybe they had to invent tools in order to use them, fashioning pegs from the wood or some form of nails, building a scaffold. That would have had some scaffolding needs. Well, somebody's got to build that. Utilizing pulley systems to pull a timber from the ground up to the next level. Learning, it doesn't mean that they never made a mistake in how they put the boards together. Did they have to tear something apart and start all over again? Every day would have been an ark building day, except for Shabbat. The sons, did they ever say, Dad, can I go fishing today? In our modern world, can I have a day off? I'd like to take my girlfriend out. I'd like to go play golf. I'd like to go boating. I'd like to do something different than just working on this ark. Faithfulness, commitment to the endeavor. Those that have heard Yah's voice give you an assignment. And most times we hear that kind of idea and terminology, and we think, well, someone behind a pulpit. Not necessarily that, just that. There are those who are called to serve their families. There are those that are called to serve their communities, to serve in military, to serve a congregation in some respects. You never know where Yah may assign you, but it is rare that He uses you because of your greatest skill set. Oftentimes, He will select you to grow you and develop you in an arena and an area where you feel the least qualified. That's His specialty. He can take someone who is a wallflower, who rarely speaks in public, who would rather listen to a conversation than to guide the conversation, and put them in front of a group of people and say, now speak. Me? Yes, you. Take someone who is the alpha male or the firstborn mindset, and they're take charge, let's go, let's do, let's run, and this is the way we're going to do it. And put them in more of a servant role behind the scenes where they probably won't get any recognition, but they're called to act in humility and servant-heartedness, I guess is the right way to say that, and serve behind the scenes. What is He doing? He is expanding us. There is more to us than we realize. We take the surface level giftings. We take our first inclinations and the first things our hands want to gravitate to, and we want to do that with all of our might. Yet Yah knows that there is a resourcefulness, there is a quality of hidden ability down somewhere inside of us that will never be exposed, never be utilized unless we're put in such position that we have to use it. The body of Messiah is much more involved, much more intricate, much more valuable than what we can see right now. And it just might be that as it was in Noach's day, that a worldwide calamity and crisis required them to develop such skills in order to survive on the far end of things. Excuse me. Could that happen again in our day? Are there things that are yet in our worldwide future where we are laboring now, seemingly uninvolved, hidden, no one's paying attention? If they are, they're ridiculing. But in the end, we will be inside of our ark of obedience and commitment, thankful that we did what we were called to do, even when we didn't know how to do it, and we did it right. Imagine that. And imagine I'll see you again tomorrow. Then shalom.